Sound wave, multiple choice questions and answers. 1. Select one or more correct answers. A. Noise is defined as unwanted disturbances superposed on a useful signal that tend to obscure its information content. Noise is not the same as signal distortion caused by a circuit. Noise may be electromagnetically or thermally generated, which can be decreased by lowering the operating temperature of the circuit. B. Audible sounds are classified into two groups, namely musical sounds and noise. A musical sound is that in which the vibrations of the sounding body are periodic, follow each other regularly and rapidly, so as to produce a pleasing effect on the ear without any sudden change in loudness. C. A chorus or choir sings in parts. The sounds of the parts mix well together. This kind of mixing is called harmony. Harmony makes the beautiful sounds of music. D. When you sing or talk, you send out sound waves with all kinds of frequencies. These sound waves mix together. How they mix makes music or noise. E. Honking horns and the motors of cars, buses, and trucks send out sound waves that do not mix well together. That is why traffic on a busy street makes awful sounding noise. Loud noise can cause loss of hearing. Rock musicians can also suffer hearing loss. The correct answer are A, B, C, D, and E. 2. Select one or more correct answers. A. The wavelength of the fundamental standing wave in a tube open at both ends is less than the wavelength of the fundamental standing wave in a tube with one open end and one closed end. B. The speed of sound is not constant, but depends upon the temperature of the air. When it is hotter, the speed of sound is greater, so it takes less time for the echo to return. C. The frequencies of higher harmonics are integer multiples of the fundamental frequency. D. As the pulse moves down the string, the particles of the string itself move side to side. Since the medium here, the string moves perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, the wave is transverse by definition. E. Standing waves produced by open pipe at both ends is a displacement antinode, and by open at one end and closed at the other end is a displacement node along the pipe. The correct answer are A, B, C, D, and E. 3. Fill in the blank fields in this text. Complete each of the following sentences by choosing the correct term from the word bank. Loudness, intensity, pitch, sound quality, echoes, and noise. The 1_ of a sound wave depends on its amplitude. Reflected sound waves are called 2_. Two different instruments playing the same note sound different because of 3_. The correct answer are 1. Intensity, 2. Echoes, 3. Sound quality. 4. Select one or more correct answers. A. Loudness is how the ear perceives frequency. B. Music is a set of notes that are pleasing. C. Sound intensity I equals PA, where A is area and P is power. D. Intensity level B equals 10 log I/IO, where I is intensity of sound and IO is threshold intensity of hearing. E. Intensity is mass per unit volume. F. The antinodes are midway between the nodes. G. For a stationary wave, the minimum amplitude of vibration position is node and maximum amplitude of vibration position is antinode. The correct answer are B, C, D, F, and G. 5. Fill in the blank fields in this text: greater than, less than, the same as, will or will not. 1. The reflected pulse in medium 1_ be inverted. 2. The speed of the transmitted pulse will be 2_. The speed of the incident pulse. 3. The speed of the reflected pulse will be 3_. The speed of the incident pulse. 4. The wavelength of the transmitted pulse will be 4_. The wavelength of the incident pulse. 5. The frequency of the transmitted pulse will be 5_. The frequency of the incident pulse. The correct answer are 1. Will, 2. Less than, 3. The same as, 4. Less than, and 5. The same as, 6. Select one or more correct answers. A. In general, reflection leaves wavelength, speed, amplitude, and frequency unchanged, but the wave can be flipped upside down. B. A node is a point along a standing wave where the wave has minimum or zero amplitude. C. In a string or open tube, the lowest vibration mode is equal to half of a wavelength. In a tube closed at one end, the lowest vibration mode is equal to a quarter of a wavelength. D. The amplitude of resulted two combined waves add together to produce a wave with a double amplitude. E. Sound waves are longitudinal waves because the sound waves can be characterized either by the longitudinal displacement of the air molecules or by the pressure differences that cause the displacements. F. When a wave enters a medium at an angle, refraction occurs because one side of the wave moves more slowly than the other side. The correct answer are A, B, C, D, E and F. 7. Select one or more correct answers. A. Wherever the two waves are nearly enough in phase that their displacements will add to create a total displacement greater than the amplitude of either of the two original waves. When two one-dimensional sinusoidal waves of the same amplitude interfere, this condition is satisfied whenever the absolute value of the phase difference between the two waves is less than 120 degrees. B. A wave is not a solid object, but a chain of disturbance. As described by the principle of superposition, the waves move through each other. C. The speed of sound in water is greater than in air, so the speed of the wave changes from one medium to another. Since the frequency cannot change, the increase in speed results in an increase in wavelength. D. The frequency is the number of wave crests that pass a certain point per unit time. The correct answer are A, B, C and D. 8. Select one or more correct answers. A. The air in the shower stall can vibrate in standing wave patterns to intensify those frequencies in your voice which correspond to its free vibrations. The hard walls of the bathroom reflect sound very well to make your voice more intense at all frequencies, giving the room a longer reverberation time. The reverberant sound may help you to stay on key. B. A musical instrument such as a piano may be tuned by using the phenomenon of beats. A tuning fork is needed or other pure tone generator of the desired frequency. Strike the tuning fork and pluck the corresponding string on the piano at the same time. If they are precisely in tune, you will hear a single pitch with no amplitude modulation. If the two pitches are a bit off, you will hear beats. As they vibrate, retune the piano string until the beat frequency goes to 0. C. The total energy of the pair of waves remains the same. Energy missing from zones of destructive interference appears in zones of constructive interference. D. Beats causing the alternative variation of sound from loud to soft. The correct answer are A, B, C, and D. 9. Fill in the gap with frequency. Open tube, open at both ends, closed tube, closed at one end, Doppler effect higher and lower. A. As a sound wave or water ripple travels out from its source, its 1_ decreases. B. The vibrating air in A/and 2_ has displacement antinodes at both ends. C. For A/and 3_, the fundamental corresponds to a wavelength 4 times the length of the tube. D. The 4_ refers to the change in pitch of a sound due to the motion either of the source or of the observer. If source and observer are approaching each other, the perceived pitch is 5_. If they are moving apart, the perceived pitch is 6_. The correct answer are 1. Frequency, 2. Open tube, 3. Closed tube, 4. Doppler effect, 5. Higher end, 6. Lower. 10. Select one or more correct answers. A. Wave speed is inversely proportional to the square root of linear density. B. A guitar player shortens the length of a guitar's vibrating string by pressing the string straight down onto a fret. The guitar then emits a higher pitched note, because the string vibrates at a higher frequency. C. The child speaking into a cup creates sound waves which cause the bottom of the cup to vibrate. Since the string is tightly attached to the bottom of the cup, the vibrations of the cup are transmitted to longitudinal waves in the string. These longitudinal waves travel down the string, and cause the bottom of the receiver cup to vibrate. This relatively large vibrating surface moves the adjacent air, and generates sound waves from the bottom of the cup, traveling up into the cup. These waves are incident on the receiver's ear, and they hear the sound from the speaker. D. An organ pipe with a fundamental frequency F is open at both ends. If one end is closed off, the fundamental frequency will double. The correct answer are A, B, C, and D. 11. Select one or more correct answers. A. Some marine mammals, such as dolphin, whales, and porpoises use sound waves to locate distant objects. In this process, called echolocation. B. Elephants use infrasonic sound waves to communicate with one another. Their large ears enable them to detect these low-frequency sound waves which have relatively long wavelengths. C. The sonar or pulse echo technique is used to locate underwater objects and to determine distance. A transmitter sends out a sound pulse through the water, and a detector receives its reflection, or echo, a short time later. D. The sonogram is a device used in medicine and exploits the reflected ultrasound to create images. This pulse echo technique can be used to produce images of objects inside the body and is used by physicians to observe fetuses. Ultrasound use a high frequency in the range of 1 MHz to 10 MHz that is directed into the body, and its reflections from boundaries or interfaces between organs and other structures and lesions in the body are then detected. Michael, Lones, and Martha, 2006. E. The frequency of any harmonic is an integer multiple of the fundamental. For a stopped pipe only odd harmonics are present. For an open pipe, all harmonics are present. The correct answer are A, B, C, D and E. 12. Select one or more correct answers. A. Although the Doppler's effect is most typically experienced with sound waves, it is a phenomenon that is common to all waves. For example, the relative motion of source and observer produces a frequency shift in light wave. B. The frequency you hear is higher than the frequency emitted by the approaching source. C. The Doppler's effect is used in police radar systems to measure the speeds of motor vehicles. Likewise, astronomers use the effect to determine the speeds of stars, galaxies, and other celestial objects relative to the Earth. D. Two tones produced by different instruments might have the same fundamental frequency, and thus the same pitch, but sound different because of different harmonic content. The difference in sound is called tone color, quality, or timbre. A violin has a different timbre than a piano. E. If the observer is traveling toward the source, the pitch is higher, and if the observer is traveling away from the source, the pitch is lower. The correct answer are A, B, C, D and E. 13. Select one or more correct answers. A. I/O equals 10 to 12 W/M2 at 1000 Hz is the reference intensity. 0 dB thus represents the softest audible sound, threshold of human hearing, while 80 dB, i.e., moderately loud music, represents an intensity which is 100 million times greater. B. The loudness or softness of sound depends on the intensity of the sound wave reaching the person concerned. Loudness is a subjective quantity unlike intensity. Sound that is not wanted or unpleasant to the ear is called noise. High intensity can damage hearing. The higher the intensity, the louder is the sound. C. The energy passing a unit area per unit time is called the intensity of the wave. D. To the human ear, the change in loudness when the power of a sound increases from 0.1 W to 1.0 W is the same as when 1 W to 10 W. The ear responds to the ratio of the power and not to their difference. We measure sound level intensity in terms of decibels. The correct answer are A, B, C and D. 14. Select one or more correct answers. A. Frequency is the physical measurement of the number of oscillations per second. Pitch is a psychological reaction to sound that enables a person to place the sound on a scale from high to low, or from treble to bass. Thus, frequency is the stimulus and pitch is the response. Although pitch is related mostly to frequency, they are not the same. A phrase such as the pitch of the sound is incorrect because pitch is not a physical property of the sound. The octave is a measure of musical frequency. B. If the singer emits a loud note with a frequency corresponding exactly to one of these normal mode frequencies, large amplitude oscillations can build up and break the glass. C. A musical note is produced by vibrations that are regular and repeating, i.e. by periodic motion. Non-periodic motion results in noise which is not pleasant to the ear. Many behaviors of musical note can be explained using a few characteristics: intensity and loudness, frequency and pitch, and quality or timbre. D. The interference pattern varies in such a way that a listener hears an alternation between loudness and softness. The variation from soft to loud and back to soft is called a beat. The phenomena of beats can be used to measure the unknown frequency of a note. E. Resonance only occurs when the first object is vibrating at the natural frequency of the second object. The correct answer: A, B, C, D and E. 15. Select one or more correct answers. A. The sound wave is reflected from the rigid surface and you hear an echo. When you flip the end of a rope whose far end is tied to a rigid support, a pulse travels the length of the rope and is reflected back to you. In both cases, the initial and reflected waves overlap in the same region of the medium. This overlapping of waves is called interference. B. The lowest frequency, called the fundamental frequency, the other natural frequencies are called overtones or harmonics. The next mode after the fundamental is called the second harmonic or first overtone, and so on. C. Principle of superposition states, when two waves overlap, the actual displacement of any point at any time is obtained by adding the displacement that the point would have if only the first wave were present and the displacement it would have if only the second wave were present. D. The source of any sound is vibrating object. Almost any object can vibrate and hence be a source of sound. For musical instruments, the source is set into vibration by striking, plucking, bowing, or blowing. The correct answer are A, B, C and D. 16. Select one or more correct answers. A. The most widely used instruments that produce sound waves make use of vibrating strings, such as the violin, guitar, and piano, or make use of vibrating columns of air, such as the flute, trumpet, and pipe organ. They are called wind instruments. B. The speed of sound in air at standard temperature and pressure, 25 OC, 760 mm of mercury, is 343 m/s. It is determined by how often the air molecules collide. The speed of sound increases by about 6 m/s if the temperature increases by 10 OC, Glencoe, 2005. C. The amplitude of a wave is the maximum displacement of the medium from its rest position. The amplitude of a transverse wave is the distance from the rest position to a crest or a trough. The more energy a wave has, the greater is its amplitude. D. The speed of sound waves in a medium depends on the compressibility and density of the medium. If the medium is a liquid or a gas and has a bulk modulus B and density. The correct answer are A, B, C and D. 17. Select one or more correct answers. A. Ultrasonic waves have frequencies above the audible range. They are sound waves whose frequencies are higher than 20 kHz. B. Sound travels faster in liquids and solids than in gases, since the particles in liquids and solids are closer together and can respond more quickly to the motion of their neighbors. As examples, the speed of sound is 331 m/s in air, 1500 m/s in water and 5000 m/s in iron, though these can change depending on temperature and pressure. Sound does not travel in vacuum. C. Audible sound lies within the range of sensitivity of the human ear. They can be generated in a variety of ways, such as musical instruments, human voices, or loudspeakers. It is almost impossible to hear sounds outside the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. These are the limits of audibility for human beings, but the range decreases with age. D. Infrasonic waves have frequencies below the audible range. They are sound waves with frequencies that are below 20 Hz limit. The correct answer are A, B, C and D. 18. Select one or more correct answers. A. Sound is associated with our sense of hearing and, therefore, with the physiology of our ears that intercept the sound and the psychology of our brain which interprets the sensations that reach our ears. Sound waves are longitudinal mechanical waves that can travel through solids, liquids, or gases. B. The high-frequency sound waves are more easily absorbed than low-frequency sounds. It happens most with the soft materials. C. As the sound wave propagates, many interactions can occur, including reflection, refraction, diffraction and interference. When a sound wave hits a surface, a part of the energy gets scattered while a part of it is absorbed. Absorption is the phenomenon of the wave where the energy of sound wave gets transformed from one form to another. D. Most machines in use vibrate and produce sounds, so the only sure way to silence them would be to put them in vacuum where there would be no surrounding medium for the vibrating surfaces of the machine to push against, hence no sound waves. Answer to the questions. The correct answers are A, B, C and D. Thank you for following us. You can like, comment and subscribe to our platform and social medias at Ugranted Web. See you on our next videos.